I just wanted to come on here to show my support for the Black Lives Matter movement. It's definitely touched many souls and has many Americans pondering about what has happened in the last 60 years or recent events as well. And it's definitely heartbreaking, but I just want to show my support. I'm not going to go riot because of the COVID situation. It's still going on. I probably won't do any of that, but I will definitely support by promoting this movement and putting it on social media so that people become convinced that it's a wide country, even nationally across countries. In London they're protesting, and it's just something that definitely has to change. I think our country right now doesn't have a good leader in terms for these types of issues, and I just wanted to come on here to show my support. I wanted to share that I feel like being raised in around diversity and knowing what Black people, African Americans deal with, and the rejection that they go through and feel daily throughout their lives simply because of the color of their skin is just despair. It's like sorrowful to watch, and it just causes me to think about their whole ancestry and why they're like that. And slavery always comes into my mind. I mean, in history in middle school, I learned about the treatment that mothers had with their newborn kids, had them on their backs while they did labor, and the lynching and all the violence that there was no sense of family for African American slaves. You could watch your parents being sold, your brother being sold, your children being sold for work, and just there was no sense of family to them. And I feel like all that violence and maltreatment has just broken that society and that culture, and it's very heartbreaking. And you people, I don't know what slave owners' descendants did about it. Apparently nothing. There is an article I found online that explained how one specific person found out that they were family with their ancestors who owned like 41 slaves, and they feel a sense of embarrassment and a sense of needing to do something. And I'm sure they feel that way. I would feel that way if I find out my ancestors did something wrong, but I think they're the ones that it falls heavy on to do something. And I feel like there has been some attempt, according to that article I read, to do something, but not to the national level or the level it needs to be seen in today, so that they are treated as humans, because that is what they are, and that they are treated as just in a equal manner with no rejection, no discrimination. And I mean, it's just a long way to go, but I wanted to show that I support this movement. I'm not gonna go looting. If you go looting or rioting, all this chaos, I understand why you're doing it. Like I said, the awful violence that slaves had to deal with. I mean, today they tell us to not whoop our kids because studies have shown that they become more violent people, and I've seen it in my life. My dad's father was a violent man, and my dad is a violent man, and I see that in my life. I struggle with it, but I know that it's not right. So slavery has triggered that into many descendants and generation because they haven't gotten the psychological attention they need or the right education and support mentally that they've needed, like going through all of that and knowing it. I'm not Black. I don't understand exactly how they feel, but I can make sense out of what they might feel. And if you're gonna, I mean, it makes sense that you're gonna go loot and riot and cause chaos because that's what you've known. It's been in your family or generations for who knows how long because of the lack of resources to help the African American slave descendants. And just like the Native Americans get benefits, their own, boarded land, I don't understand why slaves and their descendants wouldn't get the same thing when they were taken away from their homes and they lost everything, even their dignity. And it just doesn't make sense how America would go on this long without any repayment to that society for at all, no attempt. So I guess it's been a forgotten issue, but not for those who it affects the most, which is the Black community. And that's why we're dealing with this today. And you got to get to the core of the issue, which is what happened years ago. And then the silent protest, the peaceful protest, which caused things to be made known. But in the end, it doesn't trigger much in terms of changing the system or who's going to help the African Americans who still deal with the psychological effects of slavery and all of the maltreatment and lack of education. Who's taking that responsibility? I mean, I would want to just raise the awareness of that psychological aspect of everything that's going on. And like I said, I just want to show my support for the African American community. I hope this absolutely makes a change. I want everyone, if they can, to post your opinions, keep this trending on social media because it's something that needs to change. And I mean, I'm like I said, I'm not gonna go riot and loot because that's not who I am. I'm I don't know, I just like to, I guess this is my way of doing it, just promoting it, talking about it, and sharing my opinion, and I support whatever people are doing to stop the injustice. And I do want to mention the George Floyd video. It's just chaotic. It's how do you, I just don't understand how that cop knew. I'm not going to get into it because I actually don't know the cop laws, but he said, "I can't breathe," and it shows a video he even forced his knee on his neck even further. It's just so crazy, and it's an injustice. Like I said, I'm not Black, but I have a sense of what you feel, and I just want to share that I support, and I hope this makes a change and keeps the movement going. And definitely pray for our country because we need it. We need a good leader right now. Just stay positive, take care of yourself, and love your neighbor as you do yourself.